Hey everyone, and welcome back to Earl Grey. The song that you just heard is the new single All My Love from Melbourne musician Peter Westwood. And you won't believe who's joining us on the show.
G'day,
Hi.
g'day. It's a pleasure to be here, uh, joining you all on the radio this afternoon.
So I have to say, All My Love is like my favorite of all of your songs. I absolutely love it. And I just wanted to ask what inspired you to how did you come up with the idea for All My Love? Because it's a
Yeah,
very emotionally charged song.
yeah, it is. Like a lot of my songs sort of just start with a little guitar idea and then non-words like floating around. And I think I just sort of got the hook, I'll give you all my problems, I'll give you all my love. And then I knew I wanted to craft a song around that. And yeah, it was a bit of a slow process, but eventually um, different things happened, and yeah, different processing of life happened, and yeah, I got a song out of it.
Yeah, that's really good. Were you writing it for someone, like the words, like kind of like a letter you never send, or was it more just, oh, hey, this came to me?
Not specifically for one person in general, but yeah, sort of thinking about falling in love and how vulnerable that can be sometimes. And yeah, if you're trying to figure out like, should I should I spend my time dating this person, um, and spend the emotional energy of handing over the vulnerable parts as well?
Yeah, again, it's a really beautiful song, and again, I absolutely love it. I also
Uh,
wanted to kind of go maybe more back towards the beginning of your music journey and ask how did you get started in music?
I've always played guitar and, well, ukulele before guitar. I think I was like three and mum would be playing the piano and then I'd be strumming away on my ukulele, not playing anything musical at all. Yeah, it's always been something just sort of nagging away, something I've enjoyed, but something I sort of feel that in my inner being I need to be doing. And then, yeah, sort of late high school, I was writing guitar ideas, and then I was like, oh, I kind of want someone to be singing on this. I don't know how to find someone to sing on this. I'm just gonna start singing. And then that's sort of where, yeah, my little solo project started from.
Oh, I was actually going to ask, one thing I've noticed about you is that you sing in an Australian accent on your songs. And I know for a lot of musicians, they usually switch to a more American accent. Was this like an intentional choice to make it sound more like you or just
Yeah, I think it kind of does. I think I like the authenticity of keeping the Aussie accent in there, but it wasn't even really a conscious choice. It just sort of happened that way. I think not being a classically trained singer or anything like that, I just sort of decided I was going to start singing, and then yeah, went from there.
I actually used to do singing lessons and I remember I was learning the song Time After Time, which I performed as a duet with another
Mm.
student at the singing school. And long story short, the teacher ended up coaching us into doing an American accent for the song. And so after that, I've started listening and I'm like, even like Little Mix, they're British and they'll sing in an American accent. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I wonder why. But it's
yeah,
probably then again, I can just imagine like Jade and Perry from that group. They've got this really thick Geordie accent, and I'm like, yeah, that's that's not gonna be
yeah.
good.
I guess it's
Um,
so much media we're brought up on as well, of just like the American accent is so prevalent.
yeah. Um, I also wanted to ask if you draw any inspiration from any musicians that you listen to.
Yeah, definitely. It's from a little bit of, I mean, I listen to a lot of sort of indie folk sort of stuff. Um, so all of that sort of just blends into a big melting pot. A lot of like more, I guess, traditional or like American folk, like Bob Dylan and stuff, and then things like Bright Eyes come in there as well, and even a bit of like Mumford and Sons, and yeah, and then some local guys as well. I love getting out to a gig and seeing people like Dadiri or Jack Davies and the Bush Chooks, and
I actually wanted to ask, so you've been performing at gigs for quite a while now with one of the ones that you've got coming up is the Moonee Valley Festival.
yep.
But yeah, I wanted to ask, so when did it come from, like when did you take your music from, okay, this is just a passion project to, okay, I'm gonna get out on stage? Because a lot of people struggle with stage fright, and I know that it stops some people from sharing what they've created.
Yeah, sort of after high school, I took a gap year to partially to work, and then I was also like, oh, maybe I'll take a gap year and focus on my music career, and then be able to just do music full time. I now see I was rather naive. I think through that year, I was like, right, I need to get out and play some open mics and really start figuring this thing out. But also, I've grown up playing music in church as well. So I've always had that sort of stage. It's a very different stage experience, but it's been easier to adjust to playing in front of people because I've sort of been doing it since I was a little kid.
Yeah, that's really cool that you already had that experience before you like headed up on stage for the first time.
Yeah.
Earl Grey is produced for radio broadcast on SYN.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Earl Grey. We're joined again by Peter Westwood and continuing our interview to learn all about his music and his creative process. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
So with Overthinking and See You Again, both of these songs incorporate like bird sounds, which is something you don't hear a lot in music. And I just wanted to ask, like, how did that become part of those songs?
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on them because I feel like a lot of people don't. But that's something that the producer I was working with was really keen to get in there. So yeah, that was definitely something more driven by him. But I do quite enjoy that they're there, and I like getting out in nature as well. So it's nice having that little natural element sneak on in.
Yeah, I was telling one of my friends, I'm like, I imagine he just, goes to the park with his guitar whenever he's stuck for ideas and starts strumming, listening to the birds. Then maybe you'll like, pick up a mic and start recording and be like, I'll save that. I might use it later.
There is one video my parents have. We were camping at the Flinders Ranges, and I was playing. I think I was singing "What a Wonderful World," just like around the campsite, and this magpie comes up and just like started basically singing a duet with. Obviously, it wasn't singing the words, but it just like started like singing along to my guitar. It's a real wholesome video.
Oh my God, that's so cool. I was going to say, this kind of draws a point that, regardless of who you are, we can all connect with music. I've literally been
Mm.
outside listening to like Ed Sheeran or something, and then my cat just sits next to me and he's
Yeah,
just staring at my phone like, I'm hearing a person who isn't here. What is this? But yeah, I've noticed every time I play Ed Sheeran, he's just like, okay, I like this.
yeah. Your cat's a big Ed Sheeran fan.
I like to joke that because Nacho is he's got orange fur, I like to say that he shares the
Mm,
orange energy with Ed Sheeran. And so you can just kind of sense
I
it.
love that. Yeah,
But
maybe I should take my ginger cat,
oh, what's your cat's name?
Timmy.
Gimme. Oh, that's so cute. I was actually gonna say, do you one thing with Nacho is every time like the reason why I'm not out there um recording is because I know Nacho is gonna be all over this. He's gonna be, running running around trying to see, you know, what's going on. Does your cat do you record like actually where do you record? Do you record in your bedroom and like you have the cat listening outside, or do you go to a studio a lot of the
Yeah.
time?
So my cat actually now lives with my parents, um, which is a bit sad, but it's a good excuse to go visit them. Um, yeah, I mostly record like the basic ideas in my room, and then I'll go to a studio to get the actual song.
Cool. And and earlier you mentioned that you have a producer that you work with. So how did you meet your producer, and yeah, what's it like working with a producer compared to making stuff completely independently?
Yeah, I've worked with a couple of different people, and I'm sort of in the process of finding someone new again, which is nice working with a range of people to get a range of ideas on the songs. The guy I work with on Overthinking and See You Again, I went to school with him, and then he was studying a music production course and had some free studio time. So he was just like, "Hey, do you want to come in? We'll set up some mics and record a couple of songs." So yeah, that was a great way to get some free studio time in. And then I worked with the Mooney Valley Youth Program.
Oh
Um,
yeah, this is Valley
for
Youth for anyone
yeah,
who's interested in getting involved. So they
yeah,
do a lot of live events, like and they're involved in the Mooney Valley Festival as well. So if anyone's definitely interested in youth events or even youth like audio stuff, they're the people to call up.
they're so good. They've got their own little like studio set up in their youth space. So and they had a program that they were running last year, and I think there were 8 people that all got to record songs and play at a little festival that they put on. It was real good.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Avenue Productions since they started.
Mm.
So I was actually going to ask, because you mentioned that that you know the Avenue Productions thing that you were involved with had a lot of different musicians. Are you planning to collaborate with any musicians, whether it's someone you met there or someone you've met somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm definitely keen to. I've got some ideas in the works. So yeah, I guess watch this space.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll be keeping my eyes and ears peeled. One thing I love when I hear like collaboration songs is that you hear like, you know, the musical styles of both artists, you know,
Mm,
coming together.
yeah,
Actually, I was going to point out there's a new Taylor Swift album coming out and she's collaborating with Post Malone. And I'm like, that is something I never expected to hear. Like, if a rapper approached you and said, hey, let's collaborate, would you do, you know, genre bends a little bit
I
and
mean, why not?
come up with something new?
There could be there could be something fun to explore there. So why not?
Honestly, again, I have to say I love it when people of different genres come together and do really cool stuff.
Earl Grey is produced for radio broadcast on Sin.
Hey, welcome back to Earl Grey. We're joined in the studio once again by Peter Westwood, continuing our interview about his upcoming performances and his music. So, speaking of performances, so you're performing at the Mooney Valley Festival this year, and I wanted to ask, so you've been performing live performances for quite a while. How do you prepare for live performances? Do you have like a few songs that you keep, you know, up your sleeve? Do you change it up?
Yeah. So I have about 9 or 10 original songs at the moment that I like to play when I play live. So I sort of try and keep them up my sleeve most of the time, ready to go. So something like the Mooney Valley Festival, I've got a 20-minute set, so I'll just try and cram a bunch of them in there. And I'm trying to work out, I might throw a cover in there as well to win people over. But I'm trying to figure out what that will be. Yeah, and then I also try and keep a bit of a catalog of covers ready to go if I play little market gigs or something like that where I need to play for a bit more than 45 minutes.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask with cover songs because there's so many songs, or even just with your own music, how do you choose like which ones make the cut and which ones don't? Is there, do you just kind of figure out which songs vibe together or
Yeah, a little bit. It's a lot of just playing them over and over and I guess seeing which ones give me the most dopamine to play.
I have to say I follow a similar thing. Earlier on in the episode, you would have heard the Taylor Swift song Seven and All My Love by Peter Westwood. And I thought that those two songs just had like similar vibes. Oh, I actually had a really interesting question that one of my friends suggested, which is if you had to hit like the reset button, like you had zero songs, you had all of your singing skills and your guitar skills, but you had zero songs, what would you do differently? Because when you started, you didn't have things like you had Instagram, but it was just like the photos rather than hey, you can add a song, you can make reels and
Mm.
things like that. So what would you do differently this time?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a that's a huge question. I think a lot of creative things are like you see someone what you see is only like the very tip of the iceberg. So I think that's kind of a difficult question because I feel like these things take a lot of time. And like some people maybe manage to actually blow up overnight, but most people that gain traction have actually been plugging away in the background for years. But I guess I'd probably just really try and hammer out a bunch of reels. But then that market's so saturated these days as well. It's yeah, it's difficult to try and find a space to be unique in that.
Yeah, I was actually going to say I've been listening to a few artists and I feel like yeah, like they are kind of in the same market space on TikTok. For some reason I'm finding like these small or independent British artists and somehow they're making their way onto my feed. So, but yeah, I will say that there is room, as I see it, there is room for everyone on
Mm.
Instagram and social media.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the beauty of social media.
yeah, and similar thing, I want to ask, so again, if you were approaching your first like live performance again, in this, reality where you've hit reset, would you try and like go on stage with, maybe a different instrument or would you do anything different or
Yeah, I don't think I'd change up the instrument because I feel like a guitar to me is kind of like a safety blanket. I think even now, if I didn't have a guitar with me on stage, I'd feel so much more nervous than than not having it. Yeah, I think if I had to do like my first gig again, though, I probably would err on the side of not over preparing for it because I think in the early days I'd be cramming the songs so much last minute, I'd get on stage and then forget it all because I'd been over it so much. But sometimes taking a step back and allowing there to be space for yeah to process it and have a clear mind beforehand is important.
yeah, I have to say I can definitely relate to over preparing. I remember doing a presentation once at high school and I'd been like, and I'd been reading and researching and coming up with all the things that I needed to do. And then I get up there and I'm like, thank goodness I wrote everything on the slide because
Yeah.
I actually forgot how to start. Yeah, it's good to know that this isn't just something that's happened to me in class
Oh
and
yeah.
it's definitely something that everyone experiences. Well, I just
Yeah.
want to say thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It's been really great having you on. So if you want to hear any more from Peter Westwood, where can we find your music?
Yeah, so it's in the usual places, so Spotify and Apple Music, I guess, if you're on there. It's also on Bandcamp, and then keep an eye on Instagram and maybe to a lesser extent TikTok, but yeah, definitely Instagram. If you want to keep an eye on where I'm playing next and yeah, what's happening.
Yeah, and Peter's handle is at Peter Westwood Music on Instagram. So definitely drop him a follow. And if anyone is available for the Moonee Valley Festival, it's happening on the 24th of February at Queen's Park in Moonee Ponds. So yeah, be there or be square, hey?
Exactly. I'm also playing another gig. It's a support gig at the Penny Black on the 22nd of Feb. Yep, 22nd of Feb at the Penny Black or the 24th of Feb at Queen's Park.
Thank you. Definitely looking forward to it. And yeah, I hope to have you on the show again soon.
Looking forward to it.